Welcome to our podcast. It's okay to not be okay. There are days when you wake up and nothing feels right. The sun is out, the sky is blue, the world keeps spinning, but inside everything feels heavy. You stare at your reflection, wondering when you stopped recognizing the person in the mirror. You try to smile. It doesn't reach your eyes. You get dressed. You show up. You say you're fine. And maybe you even believe it for a second. But deep down, there's a weight you can't name. And you start to wonder, is it just me? Why can't I just be okay like everyone else? Why does it feel like I'm falling behind in a race no one else seems to be running? We live in a world that worships positivity. Be strong. Stay grateful. Think happy thoughts. Smile through the pain. And while there's beauty in resilience, there's also danger in pretending. Because sometimes what we need isn't a pep talk. Sometimes what we need is permission to feel. To break, to sit in silence without rushing to fix ourselves. It's okay to not be okay. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. You don't have to have the answers right now. You don't need a 5-step plan to escape the sadness. Some days are just hard, and that's not a failure. It's a part of being alive. Maybe today, you didn't get out of bed as early as you wanted. Maybe you didn't reply to that message. Maybe you looked at your to-do list and felt paralyzed. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means your soul is asking for something. A pause. A breath, a moment of honesty. Pain isn't a flaw to be erased. It's a voice. It says something matters. Something hurt. Something needs time, and it's okay to give it that time. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that's always smiling. You don't have to be inspiring every second of the day. You don't need to hide your tired eyes or your trembling hands. Some of the strongest people are the ones who let themselves unravel. Not because they've given up, but because they know healing begins where pretending ends. You know that feeling when everyone else seems to be moving on, and you're stuck in the same chapter, rereading the same sentence, wondering when your story will start making sense? Some days it's not about being dramatic. It's about surviving, waking up and choosing to breathe again. Even when it feels like the air is made of stone, you don't have to prove your pain to anyone. Not every wound is visible. Not every struggle has a name. Sometimes the hardest battles are the quiet ones, the ones fought in the mind, behind closed doors, with no audience, no applause. And still, you get up, you move, even if you're just going through the motions. That matters. It counts. You're not lazy. You're not a mess. You're carrying more than most people can see. And if no one's told you this lately, let me say it now. I'm proud of you for holding on, for continuing to exist when part of you wanted to disappear. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to say, today I'm not okay, and I don't have to be. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong, like the weight has finally lifted. And then the next day, you might crumble at the sound of a song or a memory you didn't ask for. That doesn't mean you're back to square one. It means you're still human. Progress doesn't always look like forward motion. Sometimes it looks like sitting still and choosing not to run away. Sometimes it's crying on the bathroom floor and still showing up the next morning. Sometimes it's canceling plans because your body is begging for quiet. And none of that makes you less. You are not a burden. For feeling deeply, you are not weak. For having bad days, you are not failing just because your pace looks different. This world moves fast, too fast sometimes, and it tells us to keep up, to smile, to hustle, to shine. But maybe what you need right now is softness, slowness, stillness, and that is enough. You don't have to rush your healing just to make others comfortable. You don't have to paint over your sadness with polite smiles. Let it be messy. Let it be real. Let it be whatever it is, without judgment. You're not meant to be perfect. You're meant to be honest. You don't have to earn rest by proving how hard you've worked. You don't need to reach a breaking point to deserve care. You don't have to collapse before someone says, take it easy. You're allowed to take care of yourself before it gets too much. You're allowed to say no without guilt attached to every letter. Not every day needs to be productive. Not every hour has to be filled. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let yourself be without fixing, without forcing, without fleeing from the silence. If you've been feeling like the world is too loud, maybe it's because your soul is asking for quiet. And if you've been feeling like you're falling apart, maybe that's just the part where something new begins. Even the stars collapse before they become something brighter. Even the ocean has tides, sometimes pulled back, sometimes crashing loud and wild, but always returning. You too can come back to yourself. Not all at once. Not in a grand moment, but slowly, softly, moment by moment. There's beauty in that. There's strength in simply surviving. And I know, some nights feel endless. Some thoughts echo so loudly. You forget what silence even feels like. But you've made it through your worst nights before. You're still here. There's something incredibly brave about that. About choosing to stay, even when it hurts, even when it doesn't make sense. You don't have to explain your sadness to make it valid. You don't need permission to feel what you feel. You're allowed to exist in all your complexity. The joy, the fear, the softness, the grief, the quiet hopes you don't dare say out loud. And now it's time for the question. What does the word resilience mean? A, happiness. B, the ability to recover after difficulty. C, being busy all the time. D, a type of exercise. Share your answer in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.